Youth Camps and Exchange, YCE, has programs all around the world and is designed for young people between the ages of 15 and 22 to create and foster a spirit of understanding among peoples of the world. By providing an avenue for global fellowship, the YCE program aims to help youth initiate, grow, and maintain international relationships promoting cultural education and international peace. This summer, the Wimberley Lions sponsored 5 students who traveled separately to Denmark, Norway, Italy, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. The Lions also sponsored a group of students from France, Germany, Spain, Denmark, Norway, Hungary, France, Finland, Algeria, and Mongolia. These are their stories.
This summer, I had the incredible opportunity to visit the Netherlands for 3 weeks through the Lions Camp. I was able to stay with 2 different host families as well as a 10-day long camp. I started off with my first host family who lived in Den Helder in the northern part of the Netherlands. The first day I flew in, they took me immediately to this beautiful area. It looked hundreds of years old, called Zaanstad. It had many windmills that were still in use for lumber and paint making, and it was just a beautiful old village, and I'm so grateful to have been able to see how this old machinery worked. After that, we went up to Den Helder where they lived, and the next day we were able to take a ferry over to Texel Island, which is a beautiful island. We got to visit a national park there, and we biked all across the whole island. We got to see so many beautiful places, and there were sheep and lots of little farms. My host family was incredible. I had my 2 host parents as well as my host sister and her boyfriend who was with us most of the time. The next day we visited the Ice and Singa Planetarium, which is hundreds of years old and the oldest planetarium that's still functioning. It was a beautiful hand-painted planetarium in the maker's home, and it was very well preserved and turned into a museum. We also got to pass over the dike that is the longest dike in the Netherlands that keeps most of the land from turning back into seawater. The next day we moved from Den Helder to Leiden, which is where my host sister lived, where she goes to college, and me and Savli got to stay with her and see all of the beautiful places in Leiden. It was an incredible city with many canals, and of course we had to try a couple stroopwafels. My host dad was also a member of the Netherlands Navy, so we had the opportunity to visit the naval ships and see that shipyard and all of these incredibly old ships. I think I had the opportunity to visit my second host family. This was a much larger family. They lived on a farm, so they had cows, pigs, ducks, all kinds of animals, and it was a very different and another beautiful experience, and I got very close to them. I was also staying with another exchange student from Estonia named Mia, and we also became very close. We got to visit the city of Utrecht in the Netherlands, which is very similar to Amsterdam, and its architecture had many canals. But we visited Utrecht, and then another day we got to visit Germany because we were very close to the border and drove over just a couple of hours and got to see it. That last day with my second host family, me, Mia, and my 2 host sisters got to go to a festival, one of the biggest festivals in the Netherlands called Zwart Cross. It was incredible. There were so many people, so many stages and artists, and it was such a fun experience, except for on the way back home when our car broke down, but it just added to all the memories. And all of the campers finished with their host families. We met up for the camp. It was incredible to meet all 23 of the people from so many different countries. We started in our first camp location where we got to go to the town called Deventer. We toured the cathedral and the church and got to walk all around the town and visit it. And we also got to do a Middle Eastern cooking workshop with everyone where we each made a different dish and shared a meal together. After that, we hiked from one camp location to our second camp location, and it was around a 9-mile hike, so it was very long. And at the end of it, we got to finish it out with a horse-drawn carriage. We got to visit the beautiful town of Giethorn or Giethorn, and it is a town consisting only of canals. So the majority of the towns in the Netherlands have canals as well as roads, but this was only canals and walkways. It was like a fairy tale. It was beautiful. We got to walk all around Giethorn, and we got to actually row our own boats with these really long sticks that you just stick into the ground and you walk up the boat with them. And it was a very interesting experience and very fun to do with all of my camp members. After Heathorn, the next day we went to Amsterdam for our final city tour. It was beautiful. Even the thing you see in Amsterdam is the train station, which in itself is a beautiful architecture, and the entire city is beautiful as well. Obviously, many canals, and we actually got to go on a canal boat tour, which I'm very grateful to the Lions of Amsterdam for letting us do that. And I'd like to thank the Lions of the Netherlands. Very incredible to meet so many different people, 2 different homestay families, and so many people from all around the world. I'm very grateful for the Lions for facilitating this, and I'm very thankful for everything that it's brought me. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Juan Lopez, and this summer, the Lions sponsored me to go to Switzerland. So I flew in from San Antonio, Texas, all the way to Zurich, Switzerland. And when I first got there, first of my 5 families picked me up. They took me to their small town near Bern called Gruyère. There, I stayed with their family for 3 nights. Then I switched over to my second family, and so on. During my time, I visited around the town and around Bern, or the old city. It was a fantastic experience. I got to see a lot of historical sites and a lot of hiking. The best part, I think, in my opinion, was the food. Although many people say that Europeans don't give enough salt for their food, I appreciated every single thing I ate, like fondue. So the very first memory I have in Gruyère was the hike in Molisson, which is the famous mountain in this region. That hike was about 35 kilometers. I was not ready for that. So we hiked up 35 kilometers and hiked down 35 kilometers. But the best part was the view. That was my first memory I had spent with my families. After that, I then visited around the chocolate factories in Gruyère, a lot of salt mines, and many more historical sites around the old city of Bern. So after I had stayed with my host families, I went to Zurich, a small town called Zug. I then spent 2 weeks with my camp there, and one of the best memories was cycling with my new friends down Zug. We used the bikes every single day, and we refused to use any local transportation. So like I had mentioned before, I stayed with 5 different host families, so every 3 nights I switched. And on the last 3 nights with my host family, they took me to Zurich to explore the city before I go with my camp. Then they dropped me off in Zug with my local camp leader there. They said their goodbyes, but not their farewells forever. Then I went to my camp, met my new friends from all over the world, and my camp leaders. So the first couple of days in the camp, we spent on-site and did on-site activities, icebreakers for example, to try to get to know each other and get familiarized with the area. Then after that, we visited around Zurich, the city, went to a lot of local tour guides around the city. After that, we went to a small part in the Italian region, and where we officially crossed the border for about 2 minutes, then went back to Switzerland. After that, we went to the famous mountains there, where we did a lot of hiking again, but I enjoyed every part of it. Then after that, we went and did some on-site activities around Zug and Zurich. I'd never visited Switzerland and I knew nothing about the country. I thought that people would not like me because I was from the US or something, but once I got there, I realized that it's not like that. Everyone is very friendly everywhere. They ask about your country and they inform you about their culture and traditions, and I loved every single part of it. It did live up to my expectations and exceeded it far beyond, because the people are so nice and everyone is very welcoming to your home. Many people asked me where my parents were from, and I had told them that they're from Mexico, and that explains why I'm a little darker than the average American. They asked about like my Mexican heritage and my Texas and the US in general, and I was eager to tell them about my Mexican heritage, the Texan heritage, and even the US. I would definitely recommend this experience to other kids because the world is not just where you are. I thought the world revolved around Texas for the longest time ever. But once I got to explore Switzerland with the Lions, and I got to see how big the world is. It's very important to realize that not just the US is the world. I would tell others, if they were interested, to definitely take the opportunity, just because it would open your eyes to different cultures, different histories, and even politics, which will definitely change how you think. Finally, I want to take a couple minutes to thank my local Lions Club. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to experience Switzerland to the fullest. I really want to give a shout out to Mr. Doug, because I didn't know the program existed till Mr. Doug mentioned it my junior year when I was working the concession stand. He is a great guy, and without him, I definitely wouldn't have taken the opportunity. And I know I said it already, but thank you, Lions Club, because without you, I wouldn't have made friendships, made amazing memories, and learned about Switzerland.
Hi, my name is Leah, and this summer I had the incredible opportunity to travel to Norway in the Hardangervidda National Park to do a 2-week backpacking and wilderness survival camp. My camp was a little bit not traditional, as it didn't have a host family. It was just 2 weeks of the camp. I flew into Oslo and met campers from all around the world, ages 18 to 23. The drive from Oslo to Hardangervidda National Park was 6 hours, so a bit of a drive. But once we got there, we unpacked, did some ice-breaking activities, and got to know each other a little bit better. The next day, we did map and compass orientation, where we learned how to read maps and compasses and use them together to find exact coordinates. And we put this into practical use by going to find, on a scavenger hunt, these little markers in groups of 3, where we used our map and compass to find them. And it was a bit of a walk, because there was definitely kilometers between each of the markers. But yeah, it took a good 6 hours to find everything. And it was nice to know that I actually was able to use a compass and a map. Around our camp, there was a lot of little lakes and ponds, which were basically melted glaciers. And we swam in those, which was a little bit cold, but very refreshing. The temperatures were in the 60s and 70s, and it was really nice. We were split into groups of 5 for our kitchen duties, where we were responsible for making the food and cleaning all the dishes and setting the table for the day. And these groups were also going to be our hiking groups for the hikes that we did on the 3-day backpacking trip that was coming up. Before the hiking trip, we actually did a day where we went to hike a mountain called the Diranut, and this was used to pace ourselves to understand how fast we would be for hiking, so that they could know how many kilometers in a day we could make. So yeah, it was a 6-kilometer hike, and it was very beautiful. Then we got back to camp, and we were given all of our supplies for backpacking. So we were given the tent, the tarp for the bottom, cooking supplies, kerosene to start a little cooking heat, water bottles, and toilet paper, all the necessities. And everything we packed in, we had to pack out. And also all of our food was packaged in freeze-dried containers. So yeah, we divvied that out in our groups of 5. And then the next morning we woke up and we started our big hike. So the first day we made it 20 kilometers, stopping periodically in between. And the place that we camped the first night was in a little valley with beautiful views and a little creek. And amazingly, the Norway waters are so clear that you're able to just fill your water bottle just straight from the river and drink it with no filtration necessary. And the temperatures are cold enough so no bacteria grows, so we just could drink right from the streams, which is very, very awesome. And yeah, we just cooked our freeze-dried food, just added water, and it was very good. Then the next day, broke down camp, hiked another 20 kilometers to a river where we actually swam, even though it was really cold, but you gotta do it for the plot. So jumped in the river. Then we camped again that night, and we were all sitting together playing Uno and card games, which was really fun. Took a 10-kilometer hike back to the cabin which we started from. So the whole 3-day hike was a big circle, and we ended up back at the camp, and then took a little rest day. Everyone was recovering from all the hiking we had been doing. The next day after that, we took a rafting trip down a river that was about 2 hours away from our campsite. And that was very, very fun. I've never done anything like it before. The rapids were very high. My raft actually did flip, but it was okay. We had all the gear, we had helmets, life jackets. So yeah, we just kind of floated down a little bit at the end there. But yeah, it was a very incredible experience. The next day we traveled to a fjord where we were able to see the incredible landscape that a fjord creates, which is literally just ocean water that comes up, travels in miles and miles and miles in a narrow way. Yeah, but it creates a beautiful landscape, and we explored that and then hiked another mountain with more beautiful views. Then we traveled to a famous bridge, took some beautiful pictures there, and then went back to camp. The next day we hiked to a waterfall. We got the lower perspective, and then we took a bus up to the top so we could see the waterfall from the top, which was also very amazing. And then we swam at a dam near that waterfall. In our classroom, we did country presentations where we learned about all the different countries. I presented the US of A, of course, and I learned about all the different countries where everyone was from. We had people from Turkey, Spain, Italy, Slovakia, Slovenia, Hungary, everywhere, and Thailand even, a lot of places. And I became really good friends with everyone. Overall, the experience was incredible, and I want to thank the Lions of Wimberley, the Lions of Hardangervidda, and Lions Worldwide for creating such a beautiful and amazing camp and youth exchange for people like myself to participate in. So thank you for that opportunity.
Hi, my name is Cole Jones. This summer I went to Nibe in Denmark with the Lions Youth Exchange Program, and it was a real good time. Had a lot of fun there, met a lot of great people, went around the surrounding towns, went to a few museums like a naval museum and a Viking reenactment camp there nearby the city. It was a lot of fun. That was really cool to see because they had like a whole longhouse built, like the Vikings would have had it, and a lot of tents surrounding that with a lot of the reenactors, different things like suit. They had a suit of armor and like swords and axes along with the shields. 10 to 15 tents, and they had a little pen with goats in it. Before I went to the camp with my host family's son, I went to Legoland there in a kind of central region in Denmark. It was a really cool place to see. They had millions, maybe billions of Lego bricks. And because Lego was founded in Denmark, at the store they had sets that hadn't been released yet to the public, and that was really cool to see. And I had a few roller coasters, but nothing like Six Flags. They weren't nearly as fun. There were 31 kids from 19 different countries, countries like Tunisia, Moldova, Brazil, Hungary, France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, I believe, Spain. I chose to take more pictures of landscapes there because the country is just beautiful. It's felt unreal being there and seeing a lot of the sunsets and the landscape. It was kind of flat, kind of like Oklahoma, but much better than Oklahoma because it had trees, and it was very cool to see because there was a lot of harbors, and I think the furthest point from the coast is 60 kilometers, which is not very much. He was from Tunisia, but studying civil engineering in Paris in France. And he actually was, he did a lot of photography because he brought an actual camera. And that was something he was doing as a hobby. It was very cool to see him taking photos because they looked professional. Before I went to the camp, I stayed with a host family in Nibe, and their day-to-day lives are very similar to ours in the US. Go to work, come back home, have dinner, and just, they watch a lot of movies and quite a bit of TV. The host family's son took me to a lot of different places around Denmark. Went to the northernmost tip of the country, around the beach there, and saw Nazi bunkers from World War II. And that was a real neat thing to see, along as the bunker from the Cold War that the royalty and the royalty's council would have gone if the Cold War turned hot. That was a really cool thing to see. A whole lot of wooded area, and a lot of them were natural, but it was pretty cool to see. They had man-made woods with pine trees that they were in perfectly straight rows, but there was also little trees growing in between it, so it looked natural. That was a really neat thing to see, but it was still just these big squares of pine trees. Oh, I would heavily recommend it to other kids. You meet a whole different group of people, and you get to go and see a whole beautiful country, and it's truly a once in a lifetime experience. Very thankful to the Wimberley Lions for letting me go on this trip, and I will be forever grateful for it because I had the time of my life there. It was wonderful.
Hi, my name is Julia Leonard, and this year I was sponsored by Lions to go to the southern region of Italy called Puglia. I flew out of Austin to Atlanta, Georgia, and then to Rome, and eventually to Bari, Italy. In Bari, I was met by my host family, my 2 host sisters, Sarah and Alicia, their dog Charlie, and my host father, Francesco. We eventually took a very short but kind of long drive to Brindisi, which is where my host family is from, to meet their mom, Rosalba, and where I would be staying for the next 2 weeks. They took me to so many places, including Castro Marina, Gallipoli. We also went to places that are like Castanelletta Grotto, cave systems. We visited tons of beaches. I also was very lucky to see the Worldwide Fund in Brindisi, which is aimed towards turtle rehabilitation, and I got to learn all about their mission there. I got to taste so many different foods and so many different cultural things. A lot of the foods that I ate were very traditional dishes that they would eat in southern Italy, so I was kind of further away from touristy things. And I'm very lucky that that happened because I really wanted to be fully immersed in the cultural differences that are in Italy. I was really lucky with my host family because they definitely took me in as their own. I truly feel like they are my home away from home now. And I know that eventually, hopefully, if I'm able to visit them, I'll always have a place in Italy that I can call my own. And I met their grandmother, Nonna, who I became best friends with, even though she didn't speak any English and I really didn't speak any Italian. We became best friends and I miss her so much. They took me to things like traditional dances and festivals, specifically Tarantella. It was one of the most beautiful and amazing things that I saw while I was there. Definitely a highlight of my trip. It was so fun to see everyone dancing together and enjoying music, even if you weren't from this region. It was definitely hard to say bye to them, but I was really excited when I got to my camp because I met so many amazing people. I had friends that I met and got closer with, especially my friends from Denmark and Norway, Malu and Sunniva. They were extremely special to me and still are. I really enjoyed all the places that we visited. We got to see tons and tons of churches and also tons of castles. They were beautiful, intricate, and there was so much deep history that we learned about how they were constructed and just what it meant to the people living in Italy. We were staying in a place called Mezzalia del Prete. It was in a town near Taranto. It was a beautiful hotel that we got to stay in. There was a pool and everything, and the camp leaders were amazing. A lot of the places that we visited for this camp, we got to meet a bunch of lions that always were welcoming and greeting us. They were so kind and amazing, and they really put so much thought and effort into giving us the best experience that we could possibly have in the short time that we were at camp. I got to know so many girls and all the guys there, and it was so fun to learn about their cultures and the things that they were doing in their hometowns. Coming home was really sad. Saying goodbye to everyone at the camp was really bittersweet, and I can't wait to see them again. But I flew out of Bari, so we took a short little bus ride over to Bari from Taranto. From Bari, I flew to Rome, and then Rome to Atlanta, Georgia again, and then Atlanta, Georgia to Austin, where I was finally done with my trip, and it was really sad, and I was definitely crying on the plane a little bit, but I'm never gonna forget it, and It might feel kind of like a fever dream now, but I'm very happy that it happened because it was one of the most amazing experiences. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making this a possibility, and thank you for giving young kids the opportunity to see something new in the world. We are so focused on our own cultures, our own lives, that we never really get to explore and venture out. And it becomes hard as we live in such a confusing time. And so thank you for giving kids this outlet where we can kind of see something new, where we get a different perspective of the world and get to experience something that will forever alter us. Because I know that's what happened to me, is I'm forever changed by this amazing experience, and I'm so grateful for that.
At the same time Wimberley exchange students were in Europe, exchange students from around the world were in Wimberley, Texas. Their reaction? Lots of love.
I'm having a lot of fun. I like this place. I love the people, the food, the weather. All is perfect. I love very much Texas and America.
I love all the people in Lions because they're so friendly to me, and I have Lions in my country in Denmark.
I'm really surprised that there are so many Lions clubs here in Texas.
The Lions Club is just amazing. Every Lions of the club are just amazing. They're so friendly, and that's really cool.
I love Wimberley so much, and I love my whole families.
I knew about the Lions Club because my mom came to this camp when she was my age. So I grew up hearing all these beautiful stories about the camp, and I wanted to experience that.
And the food, the cookies are incredible. I really like those.
I love the weather. It's so hot. It's a little too hot maybe and too sunny, but I love it because it's so much warmer than in Finland.
I have really good host family. They take care of me. They always, hey Ryan, how was your day? How is it with your friend? And when I go to their home, they always have breakfast, a big breakfast, a big lunch, a big dinner. I'm not angry when I was with them. So yeah, I really like Texas, and the thing that I really like it here, it's fried chicken. The chicken, they are the best one here.
I love the people here in America. Everybody's so welcoming and keeps their arms open and are just really nice people, and that is kind of different from what I'm used to actually.
It's been amazing. We've done so many awesome functions and programs.
And I really like the youth exchange with the Lions because it's a great opportunity to interact with new people, and the host families are very kind and very nice. And I really like the American food.
And the thing I enjoy the most is the food, especially the chocolate chip cookies.
Oh my God!